Beetle earrings. Thank you. say this bridge right here is in better shape than any of the new ones.
1890.
Crazy. Now the one that we're going under now is the newest bridge of the three. It's a road bridge. And this is the I-55 bridge right here. These stones on that bridge, and those were built in the factory. Now look at the ones on the other bridges. Those were handmade. Isn't that crazy how much better the handmade ones look? Well, you know we had railroads, I guess, before we had bridges. So how did they get the trains across the river? With a ferry. Believe that? With a ferry. Run out of beer, we can...
Don't know how.
We need some fun, dude! Yeah, I don't know how that would have worked out. It's the channel. Everybody wants to know. Runs about... See? It's just common knowledge. It's good to know. So us water skiers, it's a lot of... We had a phenomenon a few years ago, 17 to be exact, called Hurricane Katrina. Everybody heard of her. It took 6 months for that water to recede out. Hey, the sloughs and the low spots, they had water in them for a long time that we've never had. What y'all reckon it was? Anybody? Alligators. Just a few years ago, they caught a 12-footer right off this big sandbar right here. That dude had teeth too, just gonna say. I'm a country boy, man, but they ain't been doing no alligators. They took this from the Mississippian Indians.
Chickasaw.
So Indians was taking land from Indians before the Europeans were. I mean, that's just the way we are. You give us a chance, we'll take some. When the railroad was put in, the McPherson went out of business. So that next day that they started running trains over the railroad, the people in the crew of the McPherson parked over here with some of them old poles is up the bank up there. Security guard up. Well, they didn't check the river level.
Arkansas.
The very night the river come back up. I guess the fence is keeping the fish in, I don't know. A railroad ferry, who would have thought that? Is if you're a local, this is where you come to fish and hunt. Catfish is the big deal on the Mississippi River. Used to we trot line them. Now it's all about rod and reeling them jokers and going for the world record. Just a few years ago, about a 70-year-old black feller was fishing between these two bridges right here, and he was using something for bait called Spam. We ain't even gonna get into what it's made from. It's gotta be bad. And here comes some confirmation. The catfish like it because he caught a 113-pound catfish off of it. Arkansas record right there. Y'all, that fish didn't just jump up on that bank for him. I'm just saying. I bet by the time he got that up the bank, he might have had to get a hospital checkup. While we're downstream looking at the furthest bridge upstream, that's the Harahan. Check out the design of this bridge. You're not going to see this just anywhere. It's a railroad track through the center, but if you'll look, it has perpendicular braces coming out both upstream and downstream for a road bed on each side of the tracks. When the trains wasn't on it, they let the horse and buggies go back across in the first cars. No rails. Imagine if your car broke down and you had to change a tire. Here come a train. But how'd they keep that wood from rotting back in 1920? They tarred it. And they watched the bridge burn for 2 days. And about the water going over that concrete roadway above Bill Street Landing there, that was at 47 feet. We're -5 right now. So at 30 feet, 28, 30 feet, it jumps Arkansas right here. Where? All the way to the levee they built that's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles in. So that floods. So what is it good for? If y'all look through the openings of the trees, you can tell it's just big old field thing. It's open. So what is it? Farmland, isn't it? Y'all look how pretty and brown the Mississippi River is. Well, so when it gets up, and over all that land out there, this river's coming from all the way from Canada. It's carrying topsoil from everywhere, ain't it? It's bringing it down, man. That's why the water's brown. So when it floods, so what does that soil do? It settles. These farmers in Arkansas inherit a 1/2 inch to 2 or 3 inches of topsoil every year. time they get planted and get their stuff up there by my house, all the farmer stuff is as tall as my waist. And that's a fact. But guess what? Once their stuff gets growing, it shoots, man. It grows twice as fast as anything else, and it yields twice as much. There's a lot of stuff growing over there the police don't like. But you know, farmers are slick. So they cut it down and they burn it a little bit at a time. Oh, mercy. Hopefield had saloons, gambling casinos, and they had some things over there called brothels. That's cool in the 1800s. But Hopefield survived into the 1900s. And then it became uncool to the wives of Memphis. They did not like Hopefield, Arkansas, because their husbands and their money kept ending up on the wrong side of the river. Good as my turkey call may be, my hoot owl is even better. I'm gonna do hoot owl. New Orleans. He had a load of sugar in the hull. Now, anytime you put weight in a boat's hull, that gives it ballast. That keeps it from being tippy. The boiler operator said, Captain Mason, we done patched this boiler 3-4 times. We can't do it no more. We need to replace it. It could explode. Captain Mason said, you know what? You go ahead and repair that thing. Well, we got cargo. We're going to St. Louis. We ain't got time. He wanted to get up there and come back and get another load
Of prisoners freed.
Sultana was commissioned to carry 375 people. Now 1,500's how many died on Titanic, wasn't it? He put on 2,500 people. Union soldiers. That's not counting the crew and who else he already had on there, and horses and logs and sugar. Had them stacked like cordwood. And they headed north. When they got to Memphis, something neat happened. 11 nuns got off the boat. I want everybody to look upstream. Look over the sandbars under the Dolly Parton Bridge. And that was the old river to the left. You see the new channel, which was been there since the 50s, going straight in front of us? Well, to the left, you see an old channel that's kind of dried up. That's the old Mississippi River, y'all. 15 miles of it, going all around. So when they took off, that's where they went. They went that way. Right up through that channel right there. Right around the corner is a little old town called Mound City, Arkansas. They stopped there and unloaded the sugar. When they unloaded the sugar, they were able to put some of the men down into the hull. But you know, you can't stack men as tight as sugar. So they didn't get the weight in the hull.
$50,000 worth of gold bullion on the boat. The Sultana, greatest maritime.
When that thing blew up at my house, it's been there 200-something years ago. Then it blew the windows out of my house. I think it was. I really. But that's the story of the Sultana. It was built for our basketball team, the Grizzlies. They've since then. Come up here, you guys look up. We had this. But if you look up top, you'll notice there's two balconies, one facing the south and one in the west. Y'all see them up top? There's a really neat 10-story elevator. It's the only one that's kind of tall. Y'all see the numbers on this bridge pylon? Those numbers say 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. As that tells the river boats the distance between the water and the bridge. Right now, from the river up there is a minimum of 110 feet. That lets them know as the river gets real high, a lot of these boats have masts, and they know, just like a truck, what their clearance is. Really appreciate everybody. Man, I hope you have a good time in Memphis.
Dredging, Army Corps of Engineers.
Good afternoon, welcome aboard. Welcome to San Antonio River. My name is Captain Jose. Again, if you have questions, concerns, complaints, or compliments, don't be shy. How about that bird in front of us? See that bird? That's my safety control guy. That's a cormorant, C-O-R-M-A-R-A-N-T. That bird is indigenous to China. It's a Chinese bird. They fish. They've got a needlepoint beak. They have webbed feet like ducks, and they swim like penguins beneath the water. I can pretty much guarantee you, good people, you'll never get this close to a cormorant anywhere else. They'll come up out of the water holding catfish. They don't eat them right away. They're very proud. They like to show their catches off. If you look at a YouTube video, you can see in YouTube how the fishermen in China will tie 6 of these birds to their boats. They put a ring around their neck as to not let them swallow the catch, and those birds will happily fill up baskets full of fish all day long. They're pets. They're raised in the houses over there like we raise dogs as little hatchlings. These stay in the houses. They're part of the family, and at the end of the fishing day, they're rewarded with as much fish as they can. River Center Mall. This mall is made out of 60% glass. A 1 million square foot of shopping could be done here. We got over 100 retail shops to choose from. Also a movie theater called the IMAX, with a screen that is 3 stories tall, located 2 stories beneath this building. 38-story tall Marriott Hotel offers a little bit more than 1,000 rooms. Structure opened in 1988. Make yourselves at home here. This is a brand new boat. It's running off electric-powered lithium batteries. I have at least 100 hours per charge on this boat. I've got 30-degree more turning ratio than the old fleet did. 25 horsepower engines, no exhaust. It used to be nauseous from the naturally compressed gas. This is who we named it all after, St. Anthony of Padua. St. Anthony de Padua was born in 1195. He walked the earth in the 1200s. This statue, a gift from Portugal, has him holding baby Jesus in his arms. St. Anthony de Padua, patron saint of small children, lost causes. There's a large crane that'll lift all of these barges, the river parade boats and the pontoons. They lift them right off the trailer, swing them around, and drop them in the water. We also have a few ramps. Now there are no other boats allowed down here except the city boats. It's a narrow passageway. It would be impossible to give tours if everyone were allowed to bring their ski jets down here and their canoes. So we've got exclusive rights to be on the river along the city. I want to point out St. Joseph's Church upstairs to my right. It opened in 1868 with German heritage. If you'd like to hear Mass given in German during the Christmas holidays, St. Joseph's is the place to be. These are the original church bells from when the building was built in 1868. San Fernando Cathedral, which opened in 1731. They say, San Antonio, South Texas, we've got a saying, if you don't like the weather here, just give it 10 or 15 minutes, it'll probably change on you. I'm saying that as I look at the blue skies and the clouds mixed in. The Torch of Friendship is a gift from Mexico to celebrate the great relationship San Antonio has with Mexico City. It's up here on my right. Looks like a ribbon. Sometimes a complex relationship explaining the twists and the turns up there. That bus is Robert H. Hugman. I gotta save some of the tour for the way back.
Right.
But I love the questions though. Robert Hugman is the architect of San Antonio's river. I'll introduce y'all in a few minutes. That's right, we'll turn the boat around at some point, and everything you're looking at now will be on the opposite side of the river. What we're traveling through is called River Square. You'll notice all these restaurants. This is where we have most of our restaurants located. You also might notice a lot of trees in this area have Christmas lights on them. We've got a crew working full time to deck out these trees with the lights. Kind of funny, I talked to city employees. They've been recycling these lights for a long time. If you see the postcards in the gift shops, pretty good chance you're looking at the exact same strings of lights. Here they are above us with the fishing weights anchoring them down to the trees. They're turned on the day after Thanksgiving and light up this place throughout the holidays till New Year's Day.
I've heard the apartments are 4-year waiting list coming there.
Last I checked, up here, the Casino Club building, there is a 5-year wait to get into these apartments. Yeah, 33.5 million visitors we have per year. I've heard rent on some of these places on the riverfront from $1,500 all the way up to $15,000 per month. Wow. Of course, that would be the penthouse over near the Pearl. That's a police boat. This police boat here keeping us safe. They do a great job. Of course, this is officially a city park, so the park ranger is in charge of our safety down here. A branch of the San Antonio Police Department. Baby ducks on the left. Baby ducks. We'll see them in a minute. We just passed them. We're looking for their mama. I'd like to show everybody the hospital that we have on the Riverwalk. It's the building to my right here, called the Nix, N-I-X. The Nix Hospital opened in 1930. When it opened, it was one of the first fully air-conditioned buildings in the United States of America. What I'd like to share with you is the fact that this is an optical illusion. If you look carefully straight up now, you have a great photo opportunity. Looks like it's safe for me to maneuver this boat for you. Ooh. You're going to focus on the left edge of the building now. Make sure you include the left edge of the building as we scoot closer. You'll notice that this building kind of feels like it's falling on top of us because it only seems to have one wall. That's your shot. After we cross the bridge, you'll look back if you want to and see that it's not really one-sided. It's just an optical illusion. In 1933, a young lady you may have heard of, Carol Burnett, was born at our Nix Hospital in 1933. Now on my right side, we have La Mansión del Rio, opened in 1852 as a private school for boys. St. Mary's was an all-boy private Catholic school. In 1852, four-star hotel. Notice the architecture. Here, you'll never see a building like this. The first two stories on this building are the original with beautiful square pillars and round Spanish archways. If you look up on the next two stories, there's still these square pillars, no archways. Now we go from square pillars to round pillars topped off with wooden posts. The most unusual architecture you'll ever see on a building. The reason behind the madness here is that the Conservation Society protects these historical buildings. La Mansión, 1852. Our Aztec Theater to the left, it's the back of the theater. I'll be quiet for a silent theater when it opened in 1926. On the way back. Boy, this is the best microphone system I've had on these boats. I can hear myself talking for the first time. Wow. Am I too loud for you guys? Nope. Okay, I don't want to be too loud. On the left side, we have the old Esquire Tavern. That bar up there opened the day after Prohibition. Don't you know business was good? 108-foot wooden bar, recognized in the Guinness Book of World Records. For many years, it was the longest wooden bar in the state of Texas. I've got some friendly locals up here helping guide traffic. I see a stop sign, so I'm going to be patient. Next to us on the left side, we have if you look closely at the building just beside us on the left, you'll see this big tree, how it was slammed into the wall during the 1921 flood. It's been happy growing right out of the building here. Up in front of us, we have Captain Alfredo the Greato. If you ever happen to see this guy on the dance floor, you'll know he's the best dancing boat captain we got. Hey Alfredo, I told him how good of a dancer you are.
Dance.
He doesn't need music to get down. Here we go in floodgate number 3. If you look up here, you're going to see a 3-ton pocket steel door above the boat. It's a floodgate. We don't use it anymore, don't have to. We've got other flood measures. We'll get into that in a moment. For now, the biggest and the oldest tree on the river is this one on top of us. It's beside us at the same time. It's a bald cypress tree. Between 300 and 400 years old. We'll split the difference, call it 350 years old approximately. It has a nickname, the Ben Milam tree, as in Ben Milam fell victim to a sniper who hid up in this very tree December 7th, 1835. The bald cypress trees are not indigenous to San Antonio. A long time ago, somebody had to come down here and transplant this tree. You'll find bald cypress trees in Florida and Louisiana. They love to be close to water. They thrive on a river walk, even though they're not indigenous. Yay, construction! Your captain's not on the construction site like he normally is. Yay! That'll be a high rise. We have 33.5 million visitors per year, so all this construction is to provide hotel rooms, apartments, condominiums, anything we can get down here on the Riverwalk to accommodate all these guests that we have each year. I'd like to share with you a bittersweet story about the booming 20s across the street. On my right-hand side is the Texas Theater. You can't miss the Wild West architecture is the theme. The architects, B-O-H-L-N-E-R, the Bollner brothers. In 1926, this building opened. It stretched all the way around the block and back. It was a very large building. Today, all we have left is the front face of the building because a firm out of Dallas bought the property in 1985. They began destroying the old theater, much to the dismay of the San Antonio citizens. We were very upset. The former beloved mayor, Henry Cisneros, stepped in, began negotiations to try to save the building, backed by the Conservation Society, the Daughters of the Republic. By the time negotiations were complete, this is what we had. The front face of the once segregated theater that has its original 3 ticket offices up there. The old Texas Theater looked like this. This is the original architecture. That's the bitter part of the story because we lost the theater. The Majestic Theater was in national news as George Strait, a young man you might have heard of, the country legend, singer, provided a benefit concert with Matthew McConaughey and company. In one night, they raised over $20 million for flood relief victims of Florida just last month. This is a natural spring-fed river. It has existed, we can prove, for over 12,000 years. The Edwards Aquifer, which is our water supply beneath the limestone. The river flows 240 miles from beginning to end. The beginning of the river is a cluster of natural springs less than 5 miles north of us, that's behind us. We could float all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico near Victoria, Texas, only an hour drive from Corpus Christi. You can see the high walls on either side of the boat. That is our flood channel that was complete in 1929. It is 15 to 20 foot deep there. At the end of that flood channel, we have a dam. With the push of a button, we lower a wall. When that wall is lowered, since gravity takes the bypass floodwaters downhill, we can control the depth of this water all year long to the inch. The city of San Antonio is in charge of doing so. Now I'd like to show you another theater from the booming 20s era, just upstairs, catty corner across the street to my right. Can you see the Aztec warriors up there? This is the Aztec Theater. It opened in 1926 as the first silent theater in the United States of America. Charlie Chaplin performed here. Ironic that it is now owned by the House of Blues. We have live music concerts in the first silent theater in the United States of America. 1926, the Aztec Theater is where your boat captain watched his first movie on the movie theater screen. It was Conan the Destroyer. You've probably heard of a legendary Tejano music star named Selena Quintanilla. She had a movie with J-Lo, played her role. She sat up on top of the bridge in the movie. This bridge in front of us is the Selena Bridge in that movie.
It's an elevator,
that is an elevator.
Tower.
That is an elevator. Comes in very handy. People in wheelchairs, of course. We do have several elevators located strategically along the river to help everybody enjoy the river walk experience. There are 15 miles of paved sidewalks that we call the river. The river walk is 15 miles long and growing. This boat ride covers about 2.5 miles. We have changed the route of the boats. We have, only because of floodgate number 4 failed on us, and the city is busy replacing one of our floodgates right now. So it makes the floodgate impassable. Otherwise, we would have driven through the flood channel like we normally do if you've been on the tour before. If you want to go to the Alamo, That's your shortcut. The Alamo's across the street from this building. Also, the mall that we began the tour at, and we drove through the mall. We went a few blocks and came back. The mall's next door to the Alamo. Both of them are right across the street from the building here on my left. In fact, the Alamo is so close to this building that the city did shadow cast testing at sunset to ensure that the top of this Hyatt Regency, when it was built in 1981, would not cast a shadow on the face of the Alamo. Sign of respect. We have no shadows on the face of the Alamo. How about this bridge on top of us? It's just been revamped. Notice it's on hinges. These hinges allow for it to flex a little bit. Flexibility adds longevity and strength. It's still in use. And back through River Square. The architect of San Antonio's river is named Robert H. Hugman. Part of the genius that Robert Hugman had is that he scaled down all of these buildings on a little model before he designed the footbridges and the sidewalks. He wanted this boat ride to feel as if we were traveling through a house. The sky would act like the ceiling, the walls, the buildings beside us. And each time we came around a turn, we would keep guessing. That is part of the genius that the other cities have not been able to duplicate. Robert H. Hugman is a young man inspired by trips he took to Venice, Italy, and New Orleans. Here he is now on my right-hand side. This is Robert Hugman. I would like to introduce you to him. This is the young man responsible for being the architect of San Antonio's river. He had help. President Roosevelt, almost 10 years after he drew up the blueprints, trying to get us out of the Great Depression, enacted the WPA. In 1939, work began on these sidewalks. They were finished by 1941. This restaurant on my right is Casa Rio. Opened the back door of the river in 1946, but not much business was conducted here until the 1968 World's Hemisphere came to down and provided a much-needed spark for our economy. If you look directly in front of us up in the sky, you'll see the Hilton Palacio del Rio. These rooms were built 8 miles south of town at a different location, allowing the rest of the crew at this job site to build the foundation, the framework, and the first 4 levels, the elevator shaft, to get ready to stack these rooms up. They were driven down the highway on flatbed trucks. Each one of those rooms up there had its carpeting, bed sheets, light fixtures, and pictures on the wall. They were completely furnished 8 miles south of town at a separate job site before driven across the highway to this spot, lifted up into the air with a giant crane and a retrofitted helicopter blade named the Whirlybird, with an operator stacking these like Lego blocks. They set the Guinness Book of World Records in the construction of the Hilton Palacio del Rio. It's a 500-room hotel they built in 202 working days. That is the Guinness Book of World Records, as it was a rushed project with less than 9 months until the World's Hemisphere. It was a win-win situation. The city of San Antonio made a friendly wager with H.B. Zachary. If H.B. Zachary could open this hotel, we can see one more time here on my right side. If he could open this hotel before the World's Hemisphere started in '68, he would be the proud owner of the building forever in this corporation. The bet was if he opened it a day after the World's Fair started, he would sell the entire building to the city for $1. He gave his crews the weekends off and finished 2 days before the World's Hemisphere. The H.B. Zachary Corporation, proud owners of that Hilton Palacio del Rio, even to this day. This is a man-made extension. Oh, by the way, that whole story is on YouTube, a 21-minute video. Watch H.B. Zachary and his wife climb into the first room as it was lifted up into the air. Right now, we're in a man-made extension of the ancient river. The city came in with machinery, dug this channel out, added the concrete bottom to the 5-foot depth of the river. The twists and turns along the sidewalks were added because nature never works in straight lines. This channel was added over 20 years after the original sidewalk. These trees, they were almost fully grown when transplanted. These street lights with 1920 style to them were brand new in 1968. The purpose of this channel extension to taxi patrons to the World's Fairgrounds, 750 foot tall. It was the centerpiece of the World's Hemisphere. The Tower of Americas has an observation deck with telescopes you can see across town on a clear day. They also have a bar and a restaurant up there. You'll take a glass front elevator ride to the top, the Tower of Americas, second tallest tower in the United States of America. The first week of January, the city will drain the water from the river and come in with the little bobcats, the machinery, and scrape all of the stuff out of the bottom. When they do so, occasionally we'll find artifacts from the Battle of the Alamo, like cannonballs, swords, medals off jackets, buttons, lawn chairs, jewelry, cell phones. These bells are the original bells from 1868 when St. Joseph's opened. We have the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. The beloved politician was the first Mexican-American elected to the House of Representatives. He served from the 60s all the way through the late 90s. The Hemisphere Park on the other side of this building. If you walk underneath the building and up the stairs, you'll be looking up at that Tower of Americas, where this river originally flowed all the way up to the tower, powered by gondola and paddle boats back in the 60s. To your chair, you sit down and you can only see half the basketball court. These large I-beams that are above the boat now would be obstructing the other half. Now it's the Lila Cockrell Performing Arts Theater. Lila Cockrell, the first female mayor in the city of San Antonio, one of the best mayors the city's ever had. This is why we've named the Performing Arts Theater to my right after Lila Cockrell. Above her name here on the right side, we have indigenous people. On the right-hand side, we have European influences. San Antonio meets in the center of progress with Adam and Eve, the child of the future, on top of the Alamo. What you're looking at is 440,000 1-inch by 1-inch tile pieces, all chipped by the hands of Juan O'Gorman. It took 1 year to chip them into 1-inch by 1-inch pieces. Not a single drop of paint has been added. It was made in Mexico at the University of Mexico, Mexico City. The confluence of civilization, theme of the World's Hemisphere in 1968.
Hello. Woo!
Thank you.
Maybe this guy could back out. Is that him? No.